On behalf of the participants, we would like to say, number one, thank you. 谢谢 感恩 多谢 ขอบคุณครับขอบใจหลายๆ Terima kasih and last but not least ขอบคุณเจ
Okay. 알레, 이한지 인지신고 말봐.
인지신고 number 2.
그게 If I speak English, then who translate Vietnamese? 가. Chandrisha. Okay. Last 2 days, you, all the audience really pay, I think, serious sort of pay attention. So I very much sort of pleased, very happy, very good. So now this is suppose a session, question and answer. So some questions.
Hello. Okay. The first question is, what are the main ethical practices one must follow? Ethical practice. What are the main ethical practices one must follow?
It's quite simple. I think those sort of physical action and also sort of voice which brings some sort of pleasant feeling, dogs, cats, say, if we give them some sort of food and pet like that, go like that, they feel happy. They show response from their own limited sort of attitude of affection. Then often dogs and cats, they do that. So that's their way of expression of love, compassion. So this action is ethical. The voice also is some gentle voice. It's animals. Recognize your own sort of voice, and then show some kind of friendly attitude. So, we human being, human level also same, more or less same. You see, showing smile, genuine smile, not artificial smile or diplomatic smile. Sometimes creates more suspicion. Isn't it? Genuine human smile give them some sort of pleasant feeling. Then, of course, sort of nice, genuine sort of also the expression of their concern, their well-being, sincerely. Express these things are ethical. So therefore, any physical action, verbal action, which brings some happiness on other, that's also the moral, because the moral actions overall. So these entirely depend on motivation, sincere motivation. recognize these others also like myself want happy life, and everyone want a right to achieve happy life. So with that feeling, expressed through physical action, verbal action, that is ethical, ethical thing. I feel like that. So that is usually I say secular ethics, whether believer or non-believer. Even those people who really against religion, okay. But these also, a human being, these also part of 7 billion human beings. So these people also, you see, need ethical moral principle. So since these people no interest about religion, so only thing is secular moral principle. So therefore, usually I describe the essence of Buddha's teaching is non-violence, action, right?
In your behavior and action.
It's non-violence. Why we need a practice of non-violence, or why we should avoid violence, is the view or theory interdependency. Your own happy life depends on other. Future happy life depends today. So everything interdependent. Therefore, it's for your own long-term interest, say, restrain harming other. So the non-violence action, 2 levels, if possible, serve other as much as possible. If not, at least restrain harming them. So that's the moral principle from Buddhist viewpoint also. The other religion, sorry. Now you may got flu. Dalai Lama's flu. When you return your own country, you got some holy Dalai Lama's holy cold. Next question.
What happens if compassion lacks honesty? What happens if compassion lacks honesty?
I think that is a contradiction. If you really compassionate attitude to us other, then no basis to lie. Of course, you see, like I think, like very kind parent or very, very kind sort of teacher, not only simply so kind, but also you see have full sort of caring or feeling, full responsibility about the future of their children or future of the students. Then, out of sort of genuine sort of concern about their well-being, with that motivation, sometimes a little lie may be possible. But that lie is a white lie, isn't it? Good. If something, say, I think one very, very lazy student, see, who never pays much attention about study, then unless you study well, or next week, or there are going to be some sort of the terrible things. That's a lie. Bring some kind of fear.
No.
But out of sincere motivation, You see, to bring some sort of
Inspiration, encouragement.
some sort of also some effort. Those lazy sort of student, unless some sort of some threat, not threat, your own sort of action, but some other sort of say, or even I think we can say to Buddhist families or one student, one sort of children who are very lazy and say, "Oh, Buddha, very angry towards you." That's a lie, but very sincere motivation. Okay. But usually sort of lie in order to gain some benefit to you and disregard their right. That lie never go with
Against.
because of the compassion.
No.
Like that. Clear? Huh?
If I attain liberation through my own effort and work, why should I ask for puja to help me?
Because puja.
Now,
puja. 가르쳐. 샵네. Frankly speaking, I think 300 volumes, there's conjure and danger. Very few sort of, I think that very, very few about the
doing puja. It's very rare to find in these Kanjur and Tenjur over 300 volumes to find some writings by Indian masters and the Buddha's teachings that they're to do, to say prayers and rituals.
I usually, you see, criticize some of our tradition. When people ask some Lama or some people about their sort of, about their concern, right? Their health or their sort of success or these things, then the very sort of text, so for sort of making sort of the divination, often you see mentioned in order to overcome your sort of bad luck or some bad things, you should do such puja, such pujas. I always criticize that. It is wrong. Actually, the best way to overcome bad luck, right, or bad things, you yourself, you see, create certain sort of the merits or virtues. The best way increase virtues is meditate about emptiness, meditate about altruism. Particularly altruism is the best way to increase our virtues or merits. So through that way, your life become much happier. That much, according to my own little experience, I can tell you. The more sort of what's the warm-heartedness, more sort of what's the concern about others' well-being, you get tremendous sort of what's the inner peace, inner strength, self-confidence. So that tremendous sort of benefit to my own health, and including sleep. I think every night, 8 to 9 hours sleep, very sound sleep. I never tested sleeping pill, never, or tranquilizer, never. Real sleeping pill and tranquilizer is here and here combined. Wisdom, altruism combined. That's the real sort of the medicine to keep your good health. Like that. That is, I can tell you through my own little experience. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we are same human being. I also have destructive emotions, anger, attachment, jealousy. These things also I have. But then, when these sort of negative, when these sort of, or say the emotions about to develop, then why my wisdom tell me, oh, this is destructive, this is no good, no use. So that wisdom now tell me, you should not, Kasota, receive these emotions. These are truly destructive. That's the way change our mind. So usually I describe the Buddhist way of practice is utilize human intelligence maximum way, through that way transform our emotion, not through prayer. I think maybe lazy people, I think it is easier pray to Buddha, all responsibility put on his shoulder. We just lay. Isn't it? That's unrealistic. That is the proper Kasota, Buddhist way for practice, like that. So Buddha state, you are your own master. Because this is Buddhism, no idea about creator. Ourself, ultimately, ourself are creator, like that. So self-creation. Next question.
I understand compassion to all lives.
Then I think
important.
puja, this way I think some sort of benefit. You offer something to some people, including some monks or nuns. Please, you see, carry some puja. With sort of mind, at least some monks or nuns or even ordinary people, you see, will find opportunity to make their own certain sort of kasota,
in order for them to gain merit.
Oh, so that I think that way you helped some people to gain merit to them because you start that. So ultimately, you also gain some merit. Right? Like that. Otherwise, I often, you see, have joke, you see, telling Tibetans, Nagarjuna, Aryadeva, Buddha Palita, and see, the Vavavika, all these Nagarjuna's students, say, I never sort of say, I cannot imagine Nagarjuna with bell, with manjra, and kasati. Damaru, and some sort of torma, and Nagarjuna start something, and then Aryan Deva with kasati.
Symbol.
Then Chantakirti and dung, dung, dung. I don't think. All these, I think, I think with respect, I may say these are Tibetans' creation due to lack of knowledge. Very faithful, but lack of knowledge. I feel like that. Next question.
Yes. I understand compassion to all lives is important. However, there are many people who don't love themselves and don't have compassion to themselves. And how would we love ourselves and to others, other people and lives?
Kasa, rāngla tsawa me na, 어,
ran zewa menghe mangbu shyo res.
그래. 이 죽이지 벙굴로 쓰네.
Susu ran zewa che da tenen shi shen la
True.
zewa che ka des shyo.
That's right. Genuine sort of sense of love. First, love to oneself. Some cases, you see, to us is a little strange. You see, some self-hatred, self-hatred sort of person. Such person, impossible to develop compassion to others. So first, you see, love oneself. Then others also just like me, they also want happiness, do not want suffering. They also have the same right. So that sort of understanding, then extend love towards your immediate people, images of the friends. Then furthermore, like the Shantadeva's 6th chapter mentioned, then eventually your enemy, entire sentient being. The other day, I forgot. Usually, you see, regarding enemy, you see the compassion, two levels of compassion. One level of compassion is biological factor. Like dogs, cats, birds. Small insect like mosquito, I really doubt. They have the ability about sort of compassion. I don't know. I often one time in Oxford in England, my talk in front line, some professors, Oxford professors, very sort of dignified professors. I asked them, I have one question. In our brain, you see, we have the ability to develop appreciation of others sort of,
Kindness.
Others' kindness or something. We have that. The dogs, cats also, you see, have that sort of ability. Then it looks, mosquito, no that sort of ability. The reason, when my mood good, then I usually give blood to mosquito. Then looks, they suck my blood and their whole body become red. Then simply fly. No sign of appreciation. So I simply ask, you see, the professors, what level of brain size who then develop the ability of appreciation? So far, many occasions I ask this question. I really used to feel the scientist, I think one day, may find. So far is no answer. So they like the mosquito. These are sort of different thing. Otherwise, you see, many mammals and birds, you see, they also have the ability to show love, compassion. Like the bird or other animals also, you see, when some threat towards their youngster, the mother ready to face that danger. Does not come from religious faith, but these are biological factors. So we also have, you see, biologically, we equipped that level of compassion or sense of concern of others' well-being. Clear? That actually biased, limited, and very much oriented others' attitude. That compassion take as a seed, then use human intelligence, the seeing the value of that sort of warm-heartedness or compassion, seeing harmfulness about hatred, anger. So through that way, with help of human intelligence, that limited compassion, which is biologically because of that developed, biological. Now that with help of human wisdom, human intelligence, now that can further develop. So that now not oriented others' attitude, but the because of sentient being themselves, like that. So that level of compassion easily can reach towards your enemy. As far as their attitude is concerned, enemy, negative towards you. But these also sentient being, and particularly among humanity, these are human beings, human brothers, sisters. So they also deserve our love, our compassion. Clear? So that level of compassion is unbiased and infinite. The teachings or religious teachings, you see, these religious sort of teachings that talks about love, compassion, is that kind of compassion, infinite, unbiased compassion. My friend, one Muslim, he told me a genuine Islam practitioner must extend love towards entire creature of Allah. You see, no discrimination. My friend, my enemy. No. Your enemy also created by Allah, by God. So entire human being, entire world created by God. Isn't it? So people who genuinely believe and submitted yourself totally to God, then you must respect, you must extend your love towards the entire God's sort of creation, like that. So these are not biased. So then here, the one point, you see, when we talk about sort of practice of forgiveness or tolerance or compassion, infinite compassion, then you see sometimes you see people confuse the tolerance or forgiveness means you accept others' wrongdoing. That's not. We must make distinction. Elder as the actor, action. Clear. Enemy as an actor. Towards enemy as an actor, forgiveness. Their wrongdoing as their action, sometimes we have to take appropriate countermeasure. Not sort of out of hatred motivation, but out of sense of concern of their own well-being. If you let their wrongdoing continuously, ultimately they will suffer. So in order to stop their wrongdoing for their own interest, you need sometimes countermeasure. But that sort of countermeasure out of sense of concern of their well-being. Clear? So you see, we have to make a distinction. Forgiveness, real meaning of forgiveness is, you see, you never sort of develop negative feeling towards that person. So that means forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean forgetness. Right? Forget.
No, to forget.
If you forget, there's no basis for forgiveness. Clear? So, their action is concerned, sometimes we need. Now, for example, our own case. You see, some of those Chinese officials who made some decisions on the spot to arrest, to torture, like that, to killing. Their action is concerned, we're opposing. But those people who make this decision, to the people's level, we must keep compassion. So, make distinction. The person who carry that action and their action, two different. Like our own sort of, the practice of confession, practice of confession. During that confession, you make distinction. I made mistake. I did such sort of wrong action. So you separated your sort of action. You realize your action is wrong. So in order to
purify your negativities.
In order to purify yourself, you see, we have the ability to make distinction. My wrong action. Now today I feel great regret. So similarly, your enemy, their action is concerned, need opposition. But the person, as a person, we must keep compassion, forgiveness. Clear? Like that. So, compassion, there are different levels. This one, biased compassion and unbiased infinite compassion. So then, you see, self-hatred is very bad. Very bad. And actually, to further investigate why person, you see, develop self-hatred. Deep inside, selfish there, foolish selfish. Then, you see, you made some mistake and you fail to materialize what you wish.
Fulfill.
Not so fulfill, not fail to bring, to materialize. So through that way, you develop some kind of self-hatred. I don't think, from the birth, self-hatred, I don't think. Under certain circumstances, you have some vision, you want some ambition. That fail, then develop self-hatred. So that self-hatred also ultimately related with selfish motivation and narrow-minded. What do you think? What do you think? Do you have some further argument? If you have some argument, and I welcome any argument. Sometimes I, little bit, prejudice.
Proud.
Proud, sorry. I don't know. Bold, maybe. Boost. Maybe it's a little boost. I think these people, you see, the system of our study is a lot of debate, a lot of dialectical sort of debate. Whenever you sort of take one sort of position, then always sort of opposing that. That's our way of training. Although I'm not that much sort of good debater, but at least I study some debate. So I found, you see, debate. I say something, then some argument, then further sort of debate. It's quite interesting, quite good. So any sort of further questions, most welcome. Yes. Oh, please, tea. Take tea. Yes.
Would you like to, excuse me, 1 minute. Would you like to use the mic?
Louder. Yes.
You said we need to love ourselves, then extend that kind of compassion to other people. But first, how could we love ourselves? I found some people, they don't really love themselves. They are really wireless. They are not receive love, they don't feel love.
I just mentioned the self-hatred. I don't think from birth, you see, already have that kind of feeling. I don't think. Later, you see, your mind becoming more sophisticated, your brain. Then with that, you see, develop some sort of different sort of ambitions or desire. Then unrealistic desire, unrealistic ambition, naturally never materialize. Then self-hatred develop. This is how I feel. I think you should carry some sort of study, investigation. These self-hated people, when they start that, you can ask their parent when they, as a young baby, young children. I don't think self-hatred. I don't think. Clear. So now, you should have extra responsibility to carry some research and eventually write a book. And also, I think nowadays, some scientists, especially brain specialists, and also, you see, some scientists about the human emotions, and also, because genome, or some sort of scientist about the genome of these things. Perhaps, I think these are a new subject to further investigation, further discussion. I feel like that. Yes, next question.
Yes. In one of your books, there is a paragraph on renunciation, and as written below, to renounce the world means to give up your attachment to the world. It does not mean that you have to separate yourself from it. For someone who is easily attached, how do we balance between attachment and renunciation? And how do we get involved to help others as part of bodhicitta, yet not get attached?
I think other day also I mentioned, of course, I do not know the exact meaning of sort of English word attachment. Usually, I sort of understanding attachment, my understanding about attachment is, you see, some kind of desire. A little bit, the other day I mentioned blind energy. Similarly, blind sort of desire or closeness feeling. That's attachment. As I mentioned the other day, one great Chilean sort of scientist, the other day I mentioned. So, I myself, I'm Buddhist, but I should not develop attachment towards Buddhism. If I attached,
If I'm attached.
Buddha Dharma, then my mind become biased. The biased mind cannot be realistic because biased mind, you see, cannot see the other things because of the other reality or other thing, you cannot see objectively. Very much sort of related with your own desire. Clear? If may I say so, some of the hardliner Chinese communists, you see, they look, you see, Tibetan culture is something totally negative. Their mind, some kind of sort of biased, like that. One time in Australia, many years ago, one meeting with scientists, and then you see the people, you see each, you see introduce themselves. So they just at the beginning, the one scientist, one Australian, he's introduced himself as I am one scientist who always defend about science to those people who have some different views about science, he ready to defend about science. So I think such person, very difficult to accept about mind or about emotions. They simply feel just a brain. Clear? So some scientists, you see, they very open mind. Yes. As I mentioned this morning, grosser level of emotions, grosser level of mind is entirely based on brain. And nowadays, you see, some scientists now begin to notice through simply mere training of mind, some sort of concentration, think more about compassion. You see, that sort of training, that mental attitude actually effect on brain.
Mental neuroplasticity. It's called neuroplasticity.
Or that through meditation or through training of mind, actually that matter some change, sometimes increasing. So some scientists now gradually sort of showing open question. There might be some sort of very subtle energy which essentially separate from brain. So very close link, brain, neuron, and that energy. So sometimes brain or neuron change. The energy or certain mind, you see, change. Sometimes one sort of occasion in America, I talk some doctors, some physicians. I just ask, it looks, you see, sometimes, of course, obviously, you see, some physical, some sort of, some event on physical level, and some change brain level, and then some emotions. This is some different sort of mental sort of feeling or mental attitude, you see, develop. That's obvious. But some cases, without any sort of physical sort of,
movement,
physical sort of the effect, nothing. You see, simply, you see, they remain completely relaxed. Then all of a sudden, one thought come. So that thought then affect our brain, and blood pressure also is change. So looks sometimes this is some subtle sort of thought or mind come that effect on our physical level. So it seems such things there. So sometimes some movement on physical level, on brain level, and it affect thought. Sometimes thought level, some movement, some change, something happen, it affect on brain. I asked the doctor, few doctors there, then that doctors say, oh, it looks like that, but should not be. So that's biased, isn't it? They believe, you see, mind is simply the production of a brain. So it should not happen that. Nowadays, you see, genuine sort of matured scientists, not like that. And then also, 1979, my first visit Mongolia through Soviet Union in Moscow, then still communist Soviet Union. There I met some scientists, and I mentioned about the certain sort of consciousness about organs, right? We call eye consciousness or ear consciousness like that, or the sensorial consciousness, and then mental consciousness. I just mentioned the sixth mind. The scientists, Russian, Soviet sort of scientists, they immediately reject. Oh, that's a religious vocabulary, religious thing. So these are, of course, scientists, but a little bit narrow-minded scientists. Whereas some my friend and some American scientists, one famous Richard Davidson, Wisconsin University, many years, my very close old friend, and also late Varela, Chile. All these and many others, these are really genuine, mature scientists. Some new subject come, they're open mind. Maybe true, maybe not. Open. That's very good. Unbiased. So look, objective. And only thing, investigation. Like that. So, so you see, brain, we believe grosser level of mind or energy entirely depend on brain or neuron. As this morning I mentioned, during dream, you see, sensorial consciousness no longer active. The sixth mind working. And with dream, dream's own sort of what's the certain sort of sensorial, its own sensorial sort of thing, and mind. Then deep sleep, no dream, still is a more subtler sort of experience or mind. So there are technique. Firstly, to realize dream time, realize now I'm dreaming. So with that sort of experience, then control dream. And through that way, eventually, you can separate your dream body from this physical body. There are some cases there, through training. So these are mysterious, still mysterious. The potential there. I think anyone, I think usually, even you see ordinary people, you see some cases, you see have the sort of experience during dream time, recognize this, now I'm dreaming. I'm at the, because of the sleep way.
I'm sleeping.
Oh. Anyone who have that experience? You? Oh, quite few. Okay. So then, when you experience dream time, right?
No, dream.
Dream state, realize now I'm dreaming. Then that, on that occasion, further sort of concentrate your mind. The body's is a certain sort of place. Now mainly here, between two kasota, numani parat.
Breast, in the middle of your breast,
Oh, here. Oh,
the midpoint.
so the dream level, the grosser level of mind, of sensorial, already inactive. Then the dream state, you concentrate here deliberately, then further dissolution, your mind. That practice is actually, this is one of the practice, how to dissolution our grosser level of mind. So those people who have some sort of experience, then try to sort of say, try to that. Firstly, you should not sort of neglect about that experience. You should pay more attention about that experience. Then, as I mentioned earlier, while dreaming, you realize I'm dreaming. Then concentrate here. Clear? Some further sort of dissolution, the grosser level of mind further sort of dissolved, deeper. This is one practice of yoga practice like that, it mentioned. Few occasions, I also realize dream state. But then, no further sort of progress. I'm a lazy person. Okay, like that. Then you see death. This morning also I mentioned death. You see, the clinical, my tutor, senior tutor, after he died, doctor come, check. They
Confirmed.
They confirmed now dead. Then next 13 days, his body remained very fresh. And one, I think 3 years ago, I think 3 or 2 years ago, I think in South India, about 3 weeks remained that body. And one strange thing is, before die, because long illness, long time, long period illness, physical very weak. After death, the physical becoming much more fresher and remain next to 3 weeks. So scientists, so far, no explanation. Our explanation is all the sort of grosser level of dissolution, because a grosser level of mind or energy dissolved, but then subtle level of mind still there, and not only there, but a little bit active. So it affects the body. The beginning of this year, one sort of strange sort of experience. One head of Lama of Mongolia, he actually Tibetan. He recent years, one time little stroke, and also you see his body very Then last year I met, when I visit Mongolia, I met. That's actually last meeting. Then I told him, now you are physically very weak. Now you have to think about the next life. So you should now thinking more your next life in Mongolia. I request him like that. So then near Tibetan New Year, he sent a message to me where he should die, when he should die. Then I asked him, you should die in Mongolia. At the time of your death, not now. That's the end of Tibetan year. So after Tibetan New Year come, then that's the right time to die. I mentioned. He exactly used to follow that. Quite strange. Then the day he passed away, that very day, the next day, I think that day, yeah, I think next morning, I received, you see, one message from his attendants. Now what to do? Then I told, I immediately, you see, sent one my my representative with scarf. No. So since no direct flight from India to Mongolia via Korea or Japan, so it's a long trip, long flight. But then I told them, keep that body, so remain fresh. Then the day, I think after 4 days, my representative reaching Ulaanbaatar, that early morning, I received one message. Now some sign, some liquid is coming from his nose. So that usually, you see, this sign now, and that sort of meditation. Then still, I asked them, better to wait till my representative reached there. So another 4 hours, they wait. Then my representative reached there, and the scarf put on his dead body, then immediately he passed away. Or his body,
the head dropped.
Dropped like that. So strangely, looks his death controlled from India. When I die, who will control me? I don't know. But these are facts, quite mysterious, isn't it? From the Buddhist explanation, yes, there are some reasons to explain. Otherwise, these are quite because of the
Mysterious.
quite strange, right? Like that. The next question.
Nowadays, there are more and more homosexual people in the world. In Taiwanese Buddhist centers accept homosexual marriage. What's the point of view of Buddhism about homosexual? What karma do they makes this change?
Buddhist literature is clearly mentioned. You see, the sexual, same sort of sex is wrong. But that's to believer. Then non-believer, so long, the sex, same
Same gender.
I mean, man to man, female to female, so long it's safe. Okay, So that's, and then marriage, that's according to the country's sort of law. You should follow your country's law. That's all. Then serious sort of practitioner about Buddhism, then should avoid. That's all. Even animals, sometimes you see they do that is the same sex, sometimes they play together. So we also essentially animal, isn't it? Like that. Next question.
In modern society, people get more and more pressured and depressed. Apart from dedication, what can I do for them and for myself?
Karsa. I think the other day I mentioned the education system, existing education system. I think only how to lead our life with material sort of material development or material comfort. So not talk about the physical level experience and the mental level experience. And the physical level, pains and pleasure, and the mental level, pains and pleasure. They are two different things. Between these two, mental level are more superior. Physical level, pain, can subdue by mental level, calmness or satisfaction. The mental level, worry, unhappiness, sadness, cannot subdue by physical comfort. That's clear, isn't it? So people, there's no idea. See, these two levels, mental level and the physical level. So I think firstly, I really feel, actually I think last 2 years, we had sort of more serious discussion about these things. And then as a result, now some university professors, including some Delhi University professors, now actually we are carrying some research work, how to introduce in modern education system, that means secular education system, about these secular way of ethics, right? Secular ethics, how to introduce. Then in order to in order to teach, in order to explain student or young children about the secular sort of ethics, we have to sort of explain about mind, emotion. So unless you have some sort of idea about something like, usually I call map of mind, map of emotion, unless you get some sort of rough idea, the map of the emotion, mind, then different emotions, such emotion, very bad for our health, such emotion, very good for our health. Then these emotion, how develop, what sort of immediate causes and conditions, some sort of rough knowledge about the whole sort of mental system. Through that way, we can teach the importance of love and compassion, these things. Not from religious background, but simply for physical health, right? Physical health and mental health, like that. So I think now next year, next January, we are going to have some sort of meeting and further discussion. So I think next year we may have one curriculum. It's strictly based on non-religion, simply academic sort of subject. So then we are hoping some school. The other day I mentioned some people from Hong Kong, I mentioned. So I think in India, some school already include some moral ethics in India, like that. So as an experiment, some school carry these sort of curriculum or these texts. Then we'll see what effect. The last few years, Emory University and also Wisconsin University and Stanford University, at least these three universities, now last I think few years, they already carry some sort of the program as an experiment. Short period, say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, some training of mind. So result, quite sort of convincing. As a scientist, as a scientific experiment, before that sort of experiment start, they check blood pressure and amount of stress. They also use some sort of the method to
take saliva, samples of saliva.
Like that. So they check, all these check. Then after 2-3 weeks, some sort of lesson, some training, again check. There's significant change. Blood pressure reduce, stress much reduce. The person becoming much happier, and their sort of contact or their relation with their sort of friends or their inmates,
The colleagues, students.
or colleagues or students becoming much more friendly, happier. So already some experiment now carry. Now I think Wisconsin area, I think some school already, carry some sort of lesson about these secular ethics, mainly love, compassion, these things, with certain sort of explanation about mental function, and mainly based on scientific finding, like that. Not relying on religious sort of quotation or teaching, no. Simply scientific finding, like that. So that's, I think, only hope. Otherwise, they just think about material and the material sort of value. In any case, there is limitation. Many years ago, when Japan, the economic condition, each year go like that. That time, one occasion I sort of expressed, now material progress, sooner or later, you will find some stage, no further develop, so some limitation. When exactly after a few years, the Japanese economy then find some difficulties, like that. So economy, material value, in any case there is limitation. Now mental development, no limitation. But usually we, due to lack of knowledge, lack of experience, so we too much expectation about material value, further develop. Actually, there is limitation. Then mental level sort of progress, no limitation, but no botheration. Not showing interest. Clear. So I think while material development, of course, very, very important, very helpful, but meantime, pay some attention about mental system. Mental sort of system. So the mental sort of system. I think as a part of our education, then I think whole thinking will change. So education everywhere. So in education, modern education system, not religious subject, but purely non-religious way, so introduce some sort of knowledge, teaching about mind, about emotion. That I think through that way, it can be some kind of revolution. Isn't it? I think possible. I think real hopeful. I think West. I often used to telling Westerners, you, in the past, too much exploitation, Western imperialist. Oh, many Asian countries, many African countries, many Latin American countries, you see they controlled by Western nations. British Empire. You from, lady? Britain. Oh, so the Great Britain, the greatest imperialist, colonialist. And you, American, your ancestor come from? Italy. Huh? Italy. Oh, you also in some African countries you occupied these countries, and Holland, Dutch, and Portugal also, Spain also like that. In any way, but meantime, the idea democracy, rule of law. I think Great Britain. I think very realistic. Keep your sort of the emperor, monarchy, as a symbol, but at the same time, fully sort of practice democratic system. Clear. French seems to see little difficulties. They found, you see, contradictions, so they eliminate all French royal family, these things. So in any way, Western countries looks, you see, you got a lot of sort of experience, then eventually all these colonial sort of countries, you see, give independence, their own sort of rule way, like that. Then science and technology, you see, develop mainly in the Western countries. So you are, I think, among human sort of brothers, sisters, you are more mature. So, when in 60s, 70s, when one occasion I had the opportunity to visit Singapore. And when I give some teaching, Singaporean Buddhist, mainly Chinese Buddhist, when I give some sort of initiation, and they are very sort of, because of that, pay much attention. When I give explanation about Buddhism, those Westerners, when I give explanation, they really, you see, showing interest and making note or tape recorder like that. So they are sort of quite sort of today, I think, open-minded and more serious. So when I give talk about these things, the audience in the West, in the European countries, different European countries, and America, I think very, very sort of receptive way. Receptive. Some other countries, sometimes not that much. So I think these, now you see new thinking in education sort of system. I feel more possibility, you see, some change start from some of the European countries. Like I think 3 years ago, I was in Quebec. Actually, the universities in Quebec area, they gathered some kind of teachers' training about secular ethics. Usually, you see, ethics, any sort of ethics teaching, they related with religious sort of, teaching. So in Christian countries, based on, Christian sort of, belief. Actually, one time in Germany, then still East Germany and West Germany, one occasion, one sort of my talk in Bonn. That my talk, the Bonn government, the Home Minister, come. And then before my talk, very simply some talk. Then about ethics, I mentioned about ethics. Then, you see, that minister, told me, any moral ethics must be based on religious faith. I kept quiet. Then also, I a little bit sort of bold. The late His Holiness Pope John Paul, her second summary, a wonderful Polish Pope, wonderful. Since my first sort of meeting, at once we become very close friend. Oh, wonderful person, wonderful person. One occasion, quite late, one occasion, I asked him whether moral principle based on secular way without religious base, is it possible or not? I asked Pope, and the Pope, silence. Then one of his lieutenant, one cardinal, respond me, no. Moral ethics must be based on religious faith. So the Quebec, now they try to find secular ethics not based on religious faith. So they carry some kind of teachers' training. I think few weeks. So they invited me, give some talk. Then my usual sort of thinking, I give some talk like that. So you see, there's some initiative coming in from this area. So I think so while we Asian or another sort of thing, one occasion, a scientific sort of meeting, I think at least around 10 years ago, one meeting, there are some Japanese scientists, one lady participated. The first day, second day, that Japanese lady remained silent, no comment, no give comment. The third day, she mentioned, she feel we Easterner, see, we have some sort of material which Western scientists carry examination, investigation. But we ourselves, no ability to investigate. Investigation. But this time, she mentioned, but this time, after 2 days, she observed, now we Easterner also have the ability to investigate. She mentioned, I think we Asian, usually, we carry our own sort of religious sort of teaching, not much sort of investigate, not much sort of questions. I think we should change that. As I mentioned earlier, Chinese traditionally follower of Nalanda tradition. And those other Asian countries which follow the Pali tradition. You also the basis of all these sort of, investigation. All these is based on, like I mentioned, Four Noble Truth, these things. So therefore, I think, at least we Buddhists, I think should now develop more questions. And in order to develop questions, skepticism is very necessary. We should not have blind faith. We should have more skepticism. More skepticism brings question. Question brings investigation. Investigation brings answer or find answer. Just blind faith, it should be a Buddha state or my teacher state. Then stop, no further investigation. So I want to again recite that sort of special sort of quotation of Buddha. "O my follower, bhikshus, scholars, should not accept my teaching out of faith, out of devotion, but rather out of thorough investigation and experiment." That's a very scientific way. Clear? Again, I think about 40 years ago, at the beginning, my thinking seriously, the dialogue with modern scientists. Then that time, one American lady who actually married one Tibetan, Tibetan. So I mentioned that lady about my sort of desire to carry some serious sort of dialogue or discussion with modern scientists. Then she told me, "Oh, be careful. Science is a killer of religious faith." Then I thought, no, Nalanda tradition and Buddha himself, give every encouragement to further investigation, even Buddha's own word. Therefore, we have liberty to investigate. The modern scientist also, you see, investigation. Both, we Buddhists, through investigation, mainly using logics and inner experience. The scientist investigation based on instrument and mathematics, like that. So different way of approach, but both investigate what's the reality. Up to now, science mainly physical things, which can measure and can rely third person. The certain subject which we Buddhists investigate, these we cannot cannot involve with third person, but mainly subject experience, like that. So there are some little differences, but nowadays among the scientists also now begin to develop interest about mind, about emotion, because this is very, very crucial for health, for healthy society, healthy family. Clear? And including one sort of question, nowadays in modern society, a lot of the mental crisis. Actually, under sort of beautiful as a surface, underneath some sort of moral crisis, some mental crisis, all in there. So look, Japan, materialistic education, highly developed, but there are a lot of suicide among students. And Singapore, how many? Suicide? Not much. Huh? Some. Recently, I was in Ladakh. I was told previously in Ladakh area, no cases of suicide. But nowadays, among the students, some suicide now happening. So materialistic development, more sense of competition. Through that way, sort of more desire, more ambition. Through that way, is some crisis here, like that. So our mind not well balanced. So like that. So then last question.
How to increase courage to take on the suffering of others when practicing exchange of oneself for others?
As I mentioned earlier, the wisdom side, more holistic sort of view, is very essential. Otherwise, if you look, you see, out of compassion, you're really taking serious sort of concern about, for example, on patient. Look, you see, very seriously sort of concerned about that. Then days, weeks, months, then sometimes you yourself, so also they exhaust, right?
No, feel exhausted.
Complete exhaustion, like that. Or, other hand, sometimes you see no longer sort of compassion, but feel something you treated one mission, like that. So, such case, I think we should have the more holistic sort of view. Things, those things which can handle, yes, we do. Some beyond our sort of ability, then accept that reality. So that, I think, my own case, sometimes is a problem. Mainly, you see, the problem inside the bed. Really, you see, when news is come here, really heartbreaking. But then, if think only these things, then I think one day Dalai Lama depressed. Depressed Dalai Lama. But so far, no danger. I always look from wider perspective. So that's very helpful. That does not mean indifferent, right?
No.
Not indifferent. That's serious concern. But one occasion, I told some of my friends in America who are in White House. So one time I told, day by day, a lot of problems. So is a friend, he told me, a lot of difficulties, told me. So then I told him, oh yes, I think there could be some ways, intellectual level, emotional level. So intellectual level, see, look these problems and try to find how to overcome, the method how to overcome these problems. But then the emotional level, there is possibility you can keep calm. Usually I expressing like ocean. On the surface, wave always there, but underneath always remain calm. So that can be do. Intellectual level, some disturbed, so that disturbed news, you see, sad news come. Intellectually analyze how to overcome that. But then try to make distinction. Intellectual levels, then deeper emotional level. Emotional level, again, help of intelligence. As the Shantadeva mentioned, if you can overcome that problem, then no need worry. Make effort. If no possibility to overcome, no use to worry. Very practical, isn't it? Very realistic. So too much worry, you yourself demoralize, then it's a pity who can do something. But then that person, himself or herself, is depressed and demoralized. Very pity. So must keep determination, willpower. Compassion without action is just a lip service. My own case is lip service. Talk, compassion, compassion, doing nothing. So those people who involved in the sort of in the hospital or teachers, you see implementing compassion in day-to-day life. Wonderful, really wonderful. If I work big hospital, I think 1 week may be very busy. After second week, maybe half. The third week, maybe then exhaust. So I really appreciate all those people who really dedicated your own life for serving other, for helping other. Wonderful. So we Buddhist monk, my first visit Bangkok, Thailand, I raised the question. We Buddhist monk, a little bit isolated, not like Christian monks. They really heavily involved about the serving the society, mainly in education field and also health field. Isn't it? So Christian monks, nuns, you see, they really sort of take a lot of responsibility for social work. We Buddhist monks prefer in the monastery. So I raised this question to the Sangharaja in Thailand. That's my first visit. Then Sangharaja also used to have a reason, say, we monk, ordained monk, we should remain distance from the normal life or worldly life. That also is true. That also true. But we have to find some middle way. Or renunciation or attachment. Renunciation. Renunciation means detach. Actually, unlimited, unbiased compassion, in order to develop that, biased, limited compassion should reduce. So that level, detach. Then infinite love, unbiased love, develop. Clear, like that. Good, thank you.